It is 3:14 in the morning and you are lying on your back in a parking garage in Chicago, wiring a device to the underside of a car that costs more than the house you grew up in. The concrete is 41 degrees against your spine. A single drop of motor oil lands on your left cheek. You do not wipe it off. You have done this 60 times. Your hands do not shake. 6 years ago, you had never held a gun, and this is your life as every rank of a hitman, all 10 of them. From the $500 a week errand boy to the man three governments pretend does not exist. And the way it ends is not the way you think. Rank 1, the runner. Nobody starts here on purpose. You start because you are 22 years old, you owe $4,000 to a credit card company, and your rent is 11 days late. A friend of a friend introduces you to a man at a diner off Route 9. He wears a cheap gray suit. He slides a burner phone and an address across the table and says nothing else. You take the bus across town, 40 minutes, 2 transfers you, and pull a heavy duffel bag out of locker 118. You don't kill anyone, not yet. You deliver. You watch. You write down license plates in a $2 notepad while the rain comes down and the heater in your 2004 Honda Civic stays broken. You sit outside a laundromat for 5 hours. At 11:42 p.m., a black SUV pulls up. A man in a trench coat walks in with a yellow envelope, walks out 3 minutes later without it. You text one word, done. At the end of the week, you are handed an envelope. 300s, a 500, $800 cash for asking 0 questions. You tell yourself you're basically a delivery driver. Ignorance is your armor. Micro win, concrete payoff. In the days after, you stop looking people in the eye at the grocery store. You take a different route home every night. You check the rearview mirror 3 times before you park. You are not a civilian anymore. You just don't know it yet. Rank 2, the first job. And they notice you don't panic, so they call you to a different diner, and this time the manila folder has a photograph in it. 1 face, 1 address. They hand you a .38 revolver wrapped in a bar towel, serial numbers filed off. You wait outside a dive bar at 2 a.m. It is 30 degrees. Your heart is beating so hard you can feel it in your teeth. The target walks out alone, looking at his phone. You step out of the shadow from 9 feet away. You pull the trigger. It is not clean, it is loud. The recoil snaps your wrist, he drops, he screams, and you freeze for 2 full seconds that will follow you for the rest of your life. Then you run 3 corners, you drop the gun down a storm drain, and you scrub your hands with dish soap until the skin is raw. For 9 nights, you wake up at exactly 4 a.m. Your hands sweat at the sound of a siren. You throw away boots that have no blood on them. You wait for the police to kick down your door. They never come, and the moment you realize nobody is coming is the moment something inside you goes quiet. You expected guilt. What you got was silence. Rank 3, The Apprentice. Here is what the movies got wrong. The job is not kicking down doors. It is not car chases. The job is 14 hours in a hot car next to a man who barely blinks. So they pair you with him, older, quieter. He does not look like a killer. He looks like a tired accountant in a beige windbreaker. He drinks warm water from a plastic gallon jug and never turns on the radio. In a peeling motel room in Detroit, he cleans a Glock 19 with a nylon brush, and the room fills with the smell of Hops No. 9 solvent, and he teaches you the real trade. Police precinct response times, camera blind spots, how to breathe out slowly when everything is going wrong. The next night you watch him put 1 round into a man's chest, step over the body, and buy a black coffee 2 blocks away without his hand shaking. That is when you understand what you have to become. You start copying him. You quit alcohol. You buy everything in charcoal and navy. You practice stripping a pistol blindfolded until your thumbs bleed, and you time it with a stopwatch. 19 seconds, then 14, then 9. A car backfires on the street. You do not flinch. Boredom is a civilian concept now. You don't wait around. You wait with purpose. Rank 4, the Freelancer. You cut the local crew loose, you buy a laptop with cash, set up an encrypted line, and take contracts from people you only know as screen names. You never meet the client. You never learn why the target has to die. Motives are messy. 3 phones, no fixed address. You do a job in Seattle on a Tuesday, and you are eating eggs in Denver by Wednesday, 1,300 miles away. You buy your weapons from a broker who never asks your name, and you dump them in deep water after a single use. Gloves under gloves, zero forensic evidence. Your fee climbs to $25,000 a job. You count it in a diner 3 miles from a parking garage in Chicago where a silver Mercedes is about to start its engine for the last time. You are good at this now. That fact sits in you like a swallowed stone. You spend a long time deciding whether feeling nothing is a problem. You decide it isn't. That deciding it isn't is the problem. Before we go any further, my name is Calvin, and we just launched this channel for people who are fascinated by the stories no one really tells, the hidden careers, the shadow histories, the lives that never make the textbooks. If you want to help us keep making videos like this one, consider subscribing. It's free, it takes 3 seconds, and it genuinely helps more than you'd think. All right, back to the story. It's about to turn. Rank 5, the specialist. Your name, the one they whisper because they don't know your real one, starts to mean something specific. The hard targets, the protected ones, cartel bosses behind concrete walls, the jobs no one else will take, and the money follows. 6 figures, sometimes 7, so does the risk. You spend 6 months planning a single shot, a suppressor machined in Eastern Europe, an optic that costs more than a sports car. You spend 3 days inside a ceiling vent with no food, urinating into a plastic bag, knees destroyed, heart rate deliberately slowed, waiting for one man to sit in one specific chair. The shot is in London, 3rd floor of a vacant office. The target is 400 yards away behind double-paned glass, drinking a glass of water. The anemometer reads 12 knots, blowing east. You dial the scope, exhale all the way out, and squeeze the trigger in the half-second gap between your own heartbeats. Through the scope, the glass just shatters. You break the rifle down in 40 seconds, pack it into a golf bag, and walk out the front door. 300,000 euros hits an offshore account. You check the balance once and close the laptop. You feel nothing. The money is just a number that got bigger. You're sleeping in 4-hour blocks now, checking the door locks twice. Rank 6, the ghost. So you delete yourself, you burn your birth certificate, you destroy your fingerprints. No name, no face in any database, no country that will claim you. 4 passports in 4 safe deposit boxes across Europe. 3 languages, no accent, subtle prosthetics along the jaw. Colored contacts. You have been declared legally dead twice, once in a boat fire off Greece, once in a car crash in Mexico, both times on purpose. Both times you paid $250,000 for a burned body carrying your dental records. In a white-tiled bathroom in Vienna, you numb your own cheek, wait 2 minutes, and remove a tracking chip the size of a grain of rice with a medical tool. You drop it in a beaker of acid and watch it fizz. You stitch the cut with black thread. Then you look in the mirror and you do not recognize the man looking back, and you cycle identities like clothing, French on Monday, German on Thursday. You find an old photograph of yourself and feel absolutely nothing because it is a picture of a dead stranger. You throw it in a trash can and you burn it. You don't keep souvenirs. Souvenirs are evidence. Rank 7, the asset. You get too good for criminals, so a government finds you. They don't arrest you. Men in tailored suits meet you in a closed museum after hours and offer you a retainer. Now you work for people with flags, unlimited budgets, and total legal cover. The targets change. A rogue scientist, a foreign diplomat, a man who funds the wrong people. You stand on a private runway in Germany, rain slicking the black tarmac, a Gulf Stream idling 40 feet away. A man in a beige raincoat hands you an encrypted drive and a suppressed Sig Sauer, and you board, and the leather still smells new. The target gives a speech in a public square in 3 days. When you pull the trigger this time, a cleanup crew is on the body with bleach and bags before the local police even get the radio call. Afterward, you return to a sterile apartment you've never seen before. Fresh food in the fridge, your dry cleaning hanging in the closet. You don't know who put it there, and you stop wondering. On the news, a minister is dead and a treaty just collapsed. You turn off the television. You are a mechanism of the state, and no history book will ever write your name. Rank 8. the problem. Years pass, and one day you realize the same thing they've realized. You know too much. You know which politicians ordered which hits because you carried them out. A living weapon is useful. A dead one keeps secrets forever. You start seeing the watchers, a man reading the same newspaper page for 40 minutes, a black sedan that takes all 4 of your turns, so you build an insurance policy and documents, recordings, GPS logs, copies stored in 7 different cities set to release automatically the day you die. You told them. You are not sure they believed you. In a subway station at midnight, 2 men in dark coats step off the train and don't look at the map. They look at you, hands in pockets. You drop a flashbang on the tiles, the whole station goes white, and you take the maintenance stairs 3 at a time while suppressed rounds chip the concrete 2 inches behind your skull. You abandon all 3 safe houses that night. You cross a border on an unpaved logging road, sleep in the woods, eat cold beans out of the can. Safety, you understand now, was just a story your employers told you. Every parked car is a surveillance team. Every ringing phone is a location ping. You trust nothing. Rank 9, the last contract. Your intermediary goes dark. Your offshore accounts read 0. Someone has put a contract on you, and you know exactly how they'll do it, because they'll do it the way you would. Same patience, same tactics. For the first time, you are the hunter and the prey at once. A sniper round shatters your windshield and misses your temple by 1 inch. You grab your go bag and run, bleeding from the left shoulder, into an abandoned warehouse by the docks. You wrap a nylon tourniquet, pull a fixed blade from your boot and hold your breath. 3 men. Clearing corners, you step out from behind a steel beam and take the first one before he can lift his weapon. You take his rifle and put 2 rounds into the second. The third one runs. And standing there, breathing hard in the dark, you finally understand what all your targets felt in their last seconds, that sudden cold certainty that it is over. You find it clarifying, not frightening. You're treating your own shoulder bite down on a leather belt. Pain isn't pain anymore, it's a dashboard light. You stop being afraid today. The worst thing that could happen already has, and that makes you completely, terrifyingly free. Rank 10, the exit. You survive, you trigger the insurance policy, and you vanish for the last time, but vanishing is not the same as escaping. New name, Cold Country. A 1-room cabin in a snowy forest in Norway, pines heavy with white. You sit in a wooden chair facing the door with the 12 gauge across your lap. A branch snaps outside and you wait motionless for 3 hours, finger near the trigger. It was a deer. You do not put the gun down. You drink black coffee, but your hands won't hold the mug still. 20 years of adrenaline is draining out of your nervous system and leaving only ghosts. Every creak of the floor, you reach for a sidearm that isn't there. You watch people in the town square. They laugh, they hold hands, and they might as well be a different species. You know, you're out of the business, and the business is not out of you. And here is the part I didn't tell you at the start. Because right now, tonight, in a city not far from where you're sitting, there is a 22-year-old kid getting on a bus with a burner phone in his pocket. He owes $4,000 to a credit card company. He's on his way to pull a heavy duffel bag out of a locker, and he has no idea what's inside. He tells himself it's temporary. Ignorance is his armor, and he's about to meet a man at a diner. A man in a cheap gray suit who slides a phone across the table and says nothing. That man in the cheap suit is me. I've lived all 10 ranks. I made it to the cabin in the snow, and the reason the exit isn't really an exit is that there's only one way the machine ever lets you leave the field. You have to walk back to that first diner, sit in the cheap suit, and hand the envelope to the next kid. And I've told this story 100 times to 100 kids. You're number 101. So the whole time you thought you were the hitman, you were never him. You're the one across the table, and the envelope is already in my hand. And the only question left is the same one I asked myself at 22. Do you take it? Like, if this got to you, the subscribe button is right there and it's still free. In the next one, we run the exact same descent for a different life nobody talks about. Same 10 ranks, a very different set of scars, but that's a story for another night.